Hey, I'm Kev Massacre and welcome back to MXGP3. So we're heading to Switzerland and a track I don't believe was in MXGP2, so a very different challenge we got here. Here we are on our qualifying effort. It looks tight, interesting in some places, but so wide open as here we go into the right-hander to begin. Now here it goes into the tight and twisty stuff. Those are second gear corners probably. As though it's too big, but Hillman has been stuttering in the previous couple of rounds in not in Switzerland, that's where we are now. In the Czech Republic and then in Belgium last time out. The championship is closed up slightly to the Yamaha rider. That's 100 points now to him and Hurlins in third on the KTM. So they're going to halt that slight slide here in Switzerland. It's all going over all the mountains here. But as you can see, we're using the Husqvarna thing again as our tour guide. I don't know what it is about the Brit. Always seems to end up in front of the Hillman in qualifying as well. Definitely got to be careful of that in the race. Remember taking that line. As all, probably should have taken the wide line there. Like the Husqvarna. You can see trying to get over those mounds. Not our friends this time. And they're approaching the final couple of corners. Oh my god, look at that corner. And oh, the hammer's down. See, a bit of a shorter circuit as well. 131.8 is the fastest time so far. As with that fall, Hillman only does a 1:35. So qualifying not going to plan once again. This return home to the Suzuki is proving very difficult as Hurlins grabs the top spot with that 1:31.8, just a couple of tenths of a second ahead of the Brit, who are right on the tail off. So if we finished that properly, we might have been really challenging up there in the top 5 once again. As there's the Frenchman on the Yamaha in third, then the Swiss rider in fourth. Disappointing qualifying for him, down in fourth. Petrov took Kawasaki in fifth, Tonkov, Jonas, Bernardini, Covington, Fernandez rounds out the top 10, and there's the hammer down in 17th behind the South African and just in front of the Honda, as right at the back is Tro Pepe on that Husqvarna. So we're looking to have a very good round here. Let's see if we can do that in the first race. So here we are at the start here in Frauenfeld-Gachnang. I believe that's how you say it, as there's Covington and Bernardini getting TV time. As we start alongside the Honda, very rarely seen that this season. And the South African, but a very good start from the hammer. Right in the mid-pack. But the Frenchman gets the whole shot. Oh, someone is down. Bernardini from sixth on the TM. Very disappointing to see. There's all the hammer's bashing it. Down in 17th though. After that good start, he's falling back in the first couple of corners. Taking that inside the line now, and here come jumps to the rescue. Normally it's the mounds, but it's the jumps this time to get into fifth alongside Bogues. Got someone right behind. Oh, just trying to say that corner properly. I think that was Monticelli, the Italian, right behind on the KTM. But the hammer up to fifth on his opening of that. Because you've got that mound, a bit like the middle section from Natalie Basin in Great Britain there. And the final corner is definitely like that jump just before the corner in Britain, or as we saw in Belgium last time out. But those are, but the one in Belgium's at lower speed, the one in Britain's at fast speed, and what we're experiencing here is we're getting pushed out wide there. This Hurlins is battling hard for a podium spot. So here we go, approaching this massive jump, which then leads us into the final corner. Looking down the inside of the Frenchman, now our title rival. At the end of this opening lap, as we're into the 31s immediately. And we're into second immediately, just about. From the Yamaha's off, Fernandez, the Frenchman on the Kawasaki. He's down as you get pushed wide. can see the leader's making a run for it. As all we get into the side of the French, we'll take back that second spot on this second lap. Then run slightly wide into the right hander and then in the left. Really struggling to get speed through that corner. But it's a better hairpin. And it's like Hearns is coming back as well on our inside. The Dutchman, and now here comes the Frenchman. Oh, that was a much better section as we're catching up to the Hasvan of the Brit, I believe, in the lead. It's just like qualifying all over again. In his real tracks, using him as our tour guide around this place. That's our Geddeman's down from a top 10 for the Belgium. Very disappointing for a former teammate on the KTM. It's not many times I've said he's been in the top 10, but it's like he's messed up one of those few occasions he has been. He's going around the outside of the Brit, trying to take the lead. Just about holding on to the bike as well. As he dip into the 130s, we do temporarily take the lead. You've got to concede it immediately. We've got a battle here in Switzerland for the win as well. We go wide into the Brit. As the Hammer held on though on the exit, not quite. The outside line proving to be very effective. As well he runs wide into that right hand. That seems to be the Hammer's corner to make some moves. Not going as wide there. Into right hander, nice drift and slide into that left hander. The hairpin, get it down to first gear seems to really work. Even though we're not carrying as much speed over that jump. Kind of enough speed though. So we might keep doing that for the rest of the race. We're around halfway through this race now. Really is flying by. Get down the second gear. One of the shortest laps on the calendar time rise. So we really do tip by. It's a bit like Qatar, you know, the opening round of the season. Run slightly wide there. Here we go over the set of mounds to end of that. Here we go, massive jump. Into massive jump. Let off. Break on the mounds. And take that final corner. There's all the Hammer not quite dipping into the 29s. He's skirting it though. As he got into the penultimate lap of the race. A fantastic ride after a difficult qualifying once again. After a difficult few rounds, I said at the beginning of the video. But he certainly has recovered in Switzerland. Looking more like himself here. Just dominating. Like he did in that second race in Belgium. So we've got to keep our eyes open until the flag. As we saw in that final lap in the second race in Belgium, just switched off a couple of times. A couple of mistakes really did cost him the win. So got to keep going here. So getting into that groove. That's what I love about this game as well. Just riding in the grooves adds to the flow nature of the game as well. The riding in this game. As our Osland is down. The Swede from 9th, and old Bernardini's had another incident on the TM. Just not the race for the Italian after a superb qualifying effort. So here we go, that was much better into the final corner. You know, went a bit more up in the air though. Might cost us some time, cost us a second maybe. Just going to the final lap of the race. And oh, the South African is down as well on the KTM from a top 10. It seems the danger zone is if you're in the lower half of the top 10, there might be an incident. It's not as widespread as it was in Belgium, where if you were anywhere, you could have an incident. You can see drifting it in first gear into that left-hand hairpin. There's just a little rut there, which helps steer the bike. So I'm sliding into that, and then that helps, direct the bike coming out the corner. It is very nice. Once again, another benefit of this game, having this track deformation, having it much more pronounced than in previous games. From what I've seen from MXGP2, it was meant to be more pronounced in MXGP than it was in MXGP2. So, and getting that with the Steam sale, going back to MXGP, see what that was like. Like I said previously, I got put off getting that because the bad reviews of like support, but let's see how it is now. As we saw further back in the field, Tonkov on the Yamaha, Monteselli on the KTM have gone down, but the Hammer hasn't. This race as he dips into the 29s and wins the first race in Switzerland. Getting his title challenge back on track. As on this intermediate surface, it's a bit sandy in some places, isn't it? It's a bit softer. Not really hard, that top surface. You can really dig in with the tyres as he won ahead of the Brit in second, with Bogues third. There's our rival in fourth, ahead of Erdings. The title rivals not getting on the podium. That's very good news for the Hammer. With Jonas sixth, and then the home hero in seventh, Petrov eighth, Tonkov ninth, and the Belgian in 10th. Gediman in 11th. Great race for him on the KTM despite that fall. Osland in 12th, Monteselli 13th, Covington 14th, Savagen 15th. Fernandez in 16th, the Honda down in 18th, Trepepe in 19th, and in last is the TM of Bernardini. So a fantastic first race for the Hammer. But can he back it up in the second race and take the overall? As here we are preparing for the second race. I think it can go as smoothly as the first one, as there's Covington and Bernardini getting the TV time. So he lean forward alongside the Honda and the South African. Waiting for the gates to go. You get underway. Another decent start. Not as good in the second phase though. As the Frenchman, our rival, gets the whole shot on the Yamaha. So battling with the Honda here. Right at the back of the field. As always, Swiss rider, home hero. Had a shocking start. Outside of the top 20. As well, we're getting crowded out here in the midfield. Hugo jumps to the rescue. Not quite, almost landed on our rivals there. We're pushing away into the top, than the Brit on Asvana. Not very happy seeing us all the time. Trying to push us down. And that hairpin. We're getting ahead of, I think that's the Yamaha. With the Swede. Getting the Bogues as well. Carrying so much more speed. That final jump and all, we're battling. We're touching wheels. With the KTM, we're getting ahead of Bernardini, so we're having a much better opening lap than in the first race. And the TM as we're up to sixth. Got the Kawasaki in front. Here goes our former teammate, that was Petrov, our Bulgarian buddy. Oh, this bike feels so responsive. So these corners. Brilliant, it's all Bernardini once again. We get down the inside to get on the power slightly early there. I thought that compromised us out the corner, but apparently not. And a superb run over the mound. As oh no, he lands awkwardly on the final mound. Never want to land on the downslope. Like that. So down to 11th. Oh, also lands on Hillman. For the second round in a row, does the Hammer know where he is? There's also been very aggressive, the Swede. You can about see why he gets involved in incidents with riding like that. As oh, here comes the Honda in 12th for the Frenchman. Then they grab another top 10, just like he did in Belgium. Because now we're trying to settle into a groove here. In 10th. As we're coming out to the second half of the lap now. The half of the lap we're a bit better. I feel. As all get pushed by the Kawasaki into the tag Hoyer sign. Oh no! The Honda's down for the Frenchman. Oh, brilliant run. Up until that point. So down to 15th after the incident with the Kawasaki of was that Petrov? As here comes the Frenchman. We're not getting rid of him, are we? Coming at us, oh really coming at us. So you slide it on the inside the hairpin. Here we go over the jumps, making up a couple of positions. Here we go into that jump. We brake before the jump now. It seemed to work as landed into our opponents though. So we're stuck in 14th, 5 seconds off the pace compared to the first race. This is what happens when you get battling in the midfield. Here comes the Belgium down our inside. He runs wide, allows us to take the inside line, cut off his path out of the corner. Slide job in front of him. As we're around halfway through this race, and so different from the first race once again. Just not having the same two races like I was so used to having the first half of the season. Smooth sailing. But now in this final stretch of the season, since returning home onto the Suzuki, it's just been much tougher. As we go down. Got hit down in that section once again. Down to 16th just as he's making progress. So bashing wheels with the Belgium on the Yamaha as he gets a bit out of shape. But he gets a good run out of the corner back into 17th. Looking down his inside once again into the right hander. Got a good run. So sliding on the Frenchman, on the Honda. Oh, we're going 3 wide with our buddies from this race. As we get hit once again in that final corner. So tricky. Right, now we're just 4 seconds off the pace in 15th as we go into the penultimate lap of the race. God, these races really are flying by. Now Hammer needs a special last couple of laps. He wants to get a top 10 and score solid points once again. There's no doubt his French rival is doing that. So is Herdens as well in the KTM. Dutchman being much more consistent. Geddeman's down. Oh, the Belgium. Once again having a good run and going down. As was that Suzuki of the German we're battling with? Up here in 13th. Good race for the German. After some shocking qualifying results. Go around the outside of Petrov, I believe, 412. And as Bernardini on the TM's down, Osland is down on the Yamaha. Unfortunate for the Swede. As the home hero's down. Oh, Bernardini. Get a quick train to Italy, mate. You're going... We're getting your car quickly and go across the border, as I don't think you're going to have a nice greeting when you get out and try and leave this track. Unbelievable. As you dip into the 29s, back on form, and going to the final lap of the race in 9th. Good recovery on that previous lap from the Hammer. So can he continue the pace and maybe even go for a top 5? He's nits to the inside, I believe that's Fernandez in front. As Geddeman's down again, the Belgium. As he gets a superb run off the corner, that is Fernandez, the Frenchman. He goes sliding first. Oh, missed that rut though. The inside corner as Herdens is down. The Dutchman. Oh, and Tonkov is down in front. The Russian on the Yamaha. Lots of fallers on this final lap. Try and dive down the inside of the Kawasaki here, past the South African as well, into the top 5. The Hammer is having one of those laps again as here comes Herdens down our inside. The Dutchman not giving up on that top 5 and taking even more points off the Hammer. But the Hammer retakes that 5th place. And what a last couple of laps. After a couple of innings having trouble in those final corners. It seems to have worked out nicely for the Hammer. They said, although the Frenchman wins on the Yamaha, it is 5th for the Hammer. And some solid points and a solid weekend for the first time in a couple of rounds. As Frenchman won ahead of Bogus Monticelli in third, getting another podium on that KTM. Bonus in fourth. Hurlings in sixth. South African 7th. Petrov 8th. Tonkov 9th. Fernandez running out the top 10 in 11th. His fellow Kawasaki run out the Russian. And Bernardini in 12th on the TN, dropping back in the second half of the race after that fall. As look how many KTMs there are in the top 7. 5 of them. Good return for the Austrian manufacturer. In that race, as Austin down in 13th, Honda in 14th. After the promised run, the German in 17th on the Suzuki. As Nuku's last, the home hero with Getterman in 21st. The Brit in 20th on the Husqvarna. Not a good race for Husqvarna with Covington down in 16th. So, the Frenchman gets the overall, but just by a single point from 2 points from Hillman. So in the championship, Frenchman takes another couple of points out of that lead, but it's not a significant margin. I don't think the Hammer will lose any sleep over that round in Switzerland. He still has an 82-point lead. And his lead over Hurlings is over 100 points now, for 150 points at play. So, it's a 2-horse race, really. As can the Hammer just keep it together, though, in the final 3 rounds of the season, as there is once again the reputation going down, as he really is sneaking across the line instead of galloping. But can he keep this form going in the next round, like we saw in Switzerland? Next time out, start watching and we will find out then.